The wind howled a banshee's lament, lashing the ocean into a froth of whitecaps. Rain, thick and relentless, hammered against the lonely lighthouse, each drop a tiny drumbeat of despair. Inside, Elias, the keeper, hunched over a small, flickering lamp, his face etched with worry. The storm had been raging for 3 days, and the oil for the lamp was running low. This lamp was the only beacon for ships navigating the treacherous reefs that surrounded the island. Without it, well, he shuddered to think. He had a problem, a daunting, seemingly impossible problem. The storm, the limited oil, the distance to the mainland, and his own self-doubt. He'd stared at the problem for hours, feeling the weight of the responsibility crush him. The journey to the mainland in this weather would be perilous. He could easily get killed. Should he abandon the light and run to save his own life? Should he ration what little oil he had left? He felt paralyzed. Fear and the perceived magnitude of the task threatened to consume him. He remembered his grandfather's words. The biggest mountain looks small when you break it down. He slowly began to break the problem into smaller, manageable tasks. Task 1, assess the situation. He estimated that he had enough oil for maybe 12 more hours. He looked at the weather reports he had received. The storm was predicted to last at least another 2 days. The closest trading boat, normally a day's trip, was too dangerous for this weather. Task 2, identify immediate actions. Conserve oil, dim the lamp slightly. The current setting was consuming fuel quickly. A slightly dimmer light was still better than no light. Prepare the boat. He had a small, sturdy rowboat, but it was exposed. Check for leaks, secure the essentials, pack, gather essential supplies, extra water, some food, a map, the small radio. Task 3, first step to the island. The island was a small landmass with a dock and several traders, about 10 hours by sea. He needed to go there, get more oil, and return before the light went out completely. He could feel his anxiety start to melt away as he started to take action. He was no longer facing an insurmountable obstacle, but a series of small hurdles. He started with the easiest task, dimming the lamp. He adjusted the wick, and the flame settled into a calmer glow. He took the maps and laid them on the table, looked for the best route to his destination. He secured his boat. It was a long and difficult process, but the thought that he had to save the light helped him push through the pain. Hours passed. He rowed, battled the waves, and felt the stinging spray of the ocean. The storm seemed to have become more intense. It started to pour down, and the boat became filled with water. But the pain, the struggle, the fear were all worth it. He finally reached the small island, exhausted, soaked, but alive. The traders were surprised to see him, but they were happy to help. After a couple of hours, he had secured a couple of oil tanks and a working compass. He knew that the trip back to the lighthouse would be even more difficult than the trip out. It was getting dark. The storm had not stopped. The exhaustion started to take over, but he knew he had to keep going. The lighthouse was his responsibility. As he started rowing again, his hands were tired and his arms ached, but he knew he had to finish the job. Task 4, the return. He pushed himself and rowed through the darkness, the rain, and the endless ocean. The trip back to the lighthouse was extremely painful, but he kept going, and he was determined to succeed. The journey back was a brutal test of endurance. Waves threatened to capsize the boat. Icy spray numbed his skin, and the darkness pressed in like a tangible force. But he refused to give up. He focused on each stroke of the oars, caught on each small gain against the storm. He was the lighthouse's keeper, and he would keep it burning. He was tired, exhausted. He had to fight the waves and push the boat through the endless ocean. But he knew that the thought of the light, the ships in the dark, and the lives of other people were worth all his pain. He had to get back to the lighthouse. After hours of struggle, he reached the lighthouse again. He was exhausted, but he was also filled with a feeling of accomplishment and pride. The lamp was burning, and his home was once again a beacon in the storm. Back in the lighthouse, refueled and with the lamp burning brightly, Elias leaned against the wall, finally able to exhale. The storm raged on, but now it seemed distant, less formidable. He had faced the impossible and found a way. He had learned a crucial lesson. The biggest problems are often not as overwhelming as they initially appear. That's how the world works. Everything is possible with a series of small steps. Focus on the essentials. Identify the core problem, the critical few tasks that will move you forward. Don't get bogged down in the periphery. Break it down. Divide the goal into smaller, manageable actions. A giant task becomes less intimidating when viewed as a sequence of simple steps. Do the easiest task first. This provides momentum and a sense of accomplishment. Small wins fuel further action. Don't wait for perfection. Action is better than endless planning. Get started and adapt as you go. Learn from every action. Each step, regardless of outcome, provides valuable information. Accept good enough. Don't aim for perfection. Aim for progress. Elias's experience began a long chain of events. He started to manage the lighthouse with a very particular system. Whenever a crisis happened, he could focus on the important tasks instead of getting overwhelmed by emotion. Whenever there was a problem, he could approach it in a very particular way. The island's light became a symbol of hope. Word of his methods spread, and other people started to implement them. The people of the islands started to become better managers. The people of the islands started to become happier because they were less afraid to take risks, because they knew how to break a problem down into small steps, because they knew that everything was possible. The cycle begins again. This small change in routine sparked a wave of change. The light became more powerful, the routes safer. More and more ships started to come to the island. The island started to grow. New houses, stores, and workshops were built. The islanders started to become happier. As they did, they started to tackle bigger problems, and the techniques became more refined. They learned to assess their resources and use the available materials to produce better results. Slowly, the islanders became successful. They were no longer afraid to take risks because they knew that they could solve problems and that they could improve their own lives. Soon, the island became a thriving place of commerce and prosperity, all starting from one lighthouse keeper who refused to be overwhelmed. His method, a simple approach to problem solving, spread like wildfire, empowering everyone. The lighthouse was now a symbol, not just of safety, but of the human spirit's ability to overcome any challenge. And all it took was breaking it down. And you can do the same. You face your own storms, your own challenges, right now. Perhaps it's a career change, a creative project, a personal goal that feels out of reach. Do not be paralyzed by the magnitude. Don't let doubt dim your light. Your turn. What is your lighthouse? What is your goal? What is the most important thing you want to achieve? 1. Identify the core issue. What single most important thing needs to be done? 2. Break it down. What are the first 3 small, tangible steps you can take today? Write them down. 3. Just start. Don't overthink. Don't overplan. Start with the easiest step. Take action. 4. Adapt and adjust. Learn from your actions. The path might not be straight, but every step brings you closer. 5. Don't give up. The storm will rage, and doubt will try to cloud your vision. Stay focused on your lighthouse. 6. Keep it simple. Don't overcomplicate things. Aim for progress, not perfection. Now take a deep breath, close your eyes, and then do it.